Urban Golf exists to prepare students to be successful beyond high school while introducing them to the vast golf community. We do that in several ways through golf education, after-school programming, and student support services. Pillars: character, competency, connection, and competition is kind of the basis of our work. We look at it as creating a pipeline of opportunity.
Yeah.
This work that I do is a calling. We come from this community. Let's go back and let's serve, and let's play our part. It's when you connect with the students, they want to know how much you care, and for us, it's that's what we lead with. But when you talk about building a person or helping to develop a family or a community, that's emotionally draining, and I felt very drained, felt very overwhelmed, and I found myself in my backyard.
Yeah.
No matter how dark it is, the light will shine eventually. We want them to learn how to navigate life. And life, there's no blueprint. There's a way that you can manage life, and you manage life by managing yourself. We all want to start well, but we all don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
We all don't start well. So what's the recovery?
Yeah.
Golf, especially after hitting a bad shot, it teaches you how to let things go and start new with a fresh mind and a fresh approach. Because if you don't have a commitment to keep coming back, your experience will defeat you.
All right, Jerome. Welcome to DIALED.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So yeah, we'll just get right into it. You're the CEO and founder of Urban Golf of Greater St. Louis. Can you tell us a little bit about the mission statement and just the general mission of your organization?
Absolutely. Urban Golf exists to prepare students to be successful beyond high school while introducing them to the vast golf community. We do that in several ways through golf education, after-school programming, and student support services. And in a nutshell, we want our students to be prepared for life after they graduate high school, whether that's college, whether that's career, whether that's military, wherever the student sees their life, the trajectory of their life, we try to support them in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And from doing the research on your organization, what I found really fascinating was that golf is the overarching theme of the program, but you do so much more than that.
Yeah.
So I know you've got the camp in the summers. What are some of those other programs that you've got going on through UGOLF?
Well, we host after-school programs where we, I'll just go from the beginning. Elementary school, we're in 11 elementary schools where we expose students to the game of golf. That's the foundation of exposure and engagement in the game. Middle school, we go a little bit deeper on character development, competency, competition, and connection, teaching students how to connect with each other, connect with people in their community, so forth and so on. High school, we're focused on mentorship, internship, and scholarship. And so from all of our in-school programs and after-school programs, we have elementary component, middle school component, and a high school component. We have the summer camp, of course, but on Saturdays we host students at Top Golf. Students from around the region, county, city, wherever they live. It's an opportunity for them to come to Top Golf and get training and hone in their skills. Yeah.
Interesting. So in the in-school and after-school program, is it all golf that you're working on? Is it, like building skill development in the game of golf, or does it, go beyond that a little bit?
Absolutely. So, let's, sticking with our pillars, character, competency, connection, and competition is kind of the basis of our work. So we're focused on character development that, encompasses life skills, conflict resolution, law literacy, things of that nature. competition, is, that's the golf aspect of it. But, when we talk about competency, that's not just learning the game of golf, but also learning how to study, learning how to engage in a classroom or a difficult teacher or a difficult student. What does that look like? How do I regulate myself to be successful where I am? And so, we also focus on connection. We do networking events. We hosted this was a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
We hosted about 30 to 50 students here at the MAC. And it was about just as much or probably more adults there were students.
Yeah.
And, through engagement and, teaching and engaging these students in how to engage others, they went in that room and they rocked it out. They made a lot of friends. And so we help develop our students in connection, but also character and competencies, both in school and outside of school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're teaching those lessons, is it like in a gym kind of rec environment where you've got a golf club in your hand or something, you're playing the sport, and as you're playing, you're communicating these lessons, or is it more like a classroom environment, or where they're sitting and you're able to speak and engage in that way?
Good question. It's both and.
Okay.
So we have, let's say, a 6 to 8 week in school component where we take over the gym class. We do, physical fitness. We do mindfulness. We put some music on and teach them how to meditate and things of that nature. Then we play golf. After school, it's more of we took a classroom and we completely renovated to make it youth friendly. So we got indoor, outdoor turf. We got TVs, video games, bean bags, and things of that nature. It's a fun environment that, is theirs and, a space that we're engaged in. But, it's an opportunity for us to not necessarily have the clubs so much because it's a multi-purpose space. We have a simulator in there. We have a big putting green in there as well, but it's an opportunity for us to dig deeper in our coursework.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know. So this is a UGOLF facility, or are you using another facility?
So it's a satellite inside the school, and we want to do more of those because that's where the students are spending a lot of their time. And so renovating that space, McCarthy helped us renovate that space over at Gateway Middle School.
Yeah.
It gives the students an incentive to come to school and an incentive to stay. You should see the kids every time they're having a hall pass time. They want to come and hang out in the UGOLF space. It's a fun room for them that's built for them.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know the extent of that. So you engaged with McCarthy, with Gateway Middle, and you actually built out a facility within the school where UGOLF engages the students. Do you provide the, education resources as well as like managing that facility?
Yeah, and so we have our curriculums, everything. This school just provided us the space.
Yeah.
And through our partners and supporters, we went in there and completely transformed it for the students. So
wow.
We have meals that we feed them because some students don't get a chance to eat. And we've learned that through our years of supporting students around the city of St. Louis. So we have a nice substantial meal for them. We have video games because, kids are kids.
Yeah.
And, they deserve an opportunity to be kids and not be stressed or tense or worried about, problems and things of that nature. And so we created this space for them, with them in mind. And so, yeah, it's a pretty cool space.
That's incredible.
Yeah, thank you.
When did you build that out? How long has that been?
That's been in Gateway, I want to say, for 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, we primarily we operate at the high school level.
Yeah.
This is before, and we had a space in Career Academy High School where we did the same thing.
Yeah.
And so we feel that it is important to be in the fabric of the institution and not necessarily a guest, because when you're just visiting, you really don't have a stake. You really don't have a stake in it. And so our goal is for them to see us consistently, that they see us as one of the family, one of the administrators, one of the teachers, that they can come to us for advice. They can come to us when they need some help, talking through something or whatever that looks like. And so we intentionally have spaces inside the school, because not only that's where the students are, but that's where we need to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that is super impactful, because I agree with you. There's plenty of organizations, and obviously, you've grown super fast in the last 5 years.
Indeed.
So, you can only stretch yourself so thin, but I do think it's one thing to establish a facility, but managing and being a presence in that facility is really what it comes down to, because especially with kids and adults too, it's the repetition and the time spent that really makes the impact.
Absolutely. And when you look at it from this point, right, you have administration, you have teachers, you have security officers, and that's it. You have the custodial staff and things of that nature. But primarily from a teacher administration perspective, they have their hands full. The classes, Gateway Middle School is the largest, I want to say, middle school in St. Louis public schools, with about 700 to 800 students. And the teachers have their hands full, and the administration have their hands full. And what we try to do is take some of the burden off, help fill some of the gaps, because we can go to places that they can't. We can actually go to parents' house and work out a deal with the parents, or try to help fill the gaps and things of that nature. So we feel that our role in that, in the fabric of the institution is important.
Yeah. That's a really cool initiative.
Yeah, thank you.
It just makes so much sense, because it's hard. So Courtney, my fiance, is a teacher. She's a high school teacher.
Love.
Yeah. So she's grinding every day.
She's a hero.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
And it's hard, because like the student teacher relationship, you're giving the grade, and so she does a great job of building that relationship with students, but there is still that barrier of like, I'm the one giving the grade. And then there's the coach relationship, where that's kind of a different relationship. But you have to make decisions for winning the game. And so when it's a recreational activity like this, where you can really be on the same side as the student, I feel like that opens the door for that trust building.
Yes.
And the opportunity to teach those lessons, because they're not always going to listen to the teacher or the coach. But to know somebody's really on their side, I think, is really cool.
It's a game changer, because when you connect with the students, they want to know how much you care. And for us, it's that's what we lead with. We want to engage you. We want to build a relationship with you, get to know you, versus putting on a moniker. This is what we have for you. This is what you can be a part of. It's like, no, that'll come later. It's all about relationship development and building. And we've learned that once we've actually built a relationship with the students, they're interested in golf after that. They're not interested in golf to start.
Yeah.
They're not, because of, what they perceive the game to be. But if I build a relationship with Jerome, and I know that Jerome is funny, he's athletic, he likes style, things of that nature, some of the things that I like, and so we have some commonality in some of these spaces. And so when Jerome say, let's try to play this game of golf, just try it for a second, we see that initially they don't want to play golf, but as time moves on, they actually get engaged and they actually try to play. And so that's what we did at the high school level. We just built relationships and then we introduced them to the game of golf. But we realized that when we expose students to the game of golf at the high school level, it's way too late.
Interesting.
It's way too late when you're trying to develop, especially when you talk about competition, right?
Yeah.
We really didn't. We weren't really concerned about them competing. We just used the game as a tool. And so after years of doing this, I realized that just exposure without opportunity is a miscarriage of our responsibility. And so that's why we've established the golf camp. We've established scholarships with the PGA for students that actually can compete. They can compete at a higher level. And so we're not only focused about exposing kids, but giving kids an opportunity, whether that's to play golf or to be adjacent to the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have you, at this point, the middle school has been the primary focus for the last couple of years?
Yeah, middle school and elementary school.
Okay.
Yeah.
And would the goal eventually, as you expand your scope and grow the organization, to build not only the elementary, middle, and then high school, so that they do have the vertical,
yes,
to continue that,
yes,
skill development and everything through high school years?
Absolutely. We look at it as creating a pipeline of opportunity. So if we're giving you the opportunity to learn a game at elementary school, we want to be able to have programs established at the middle school and high school level, established for you to pursue the sport and also stay in the community of golf. And so it's important for us to establish programs at the middle school and high school level. Well, we had to go back to elementary school and engage the students, and then it's kind of like you're working at both ends almost, because you have to establish these middle school and high school opportunities, but go back to develop the students in elementary school to kind of send them through. So we stopped we paused high school programs to really build out the middle school and elementary school programs, because once they get into high school, right, there's scholarship opportunities, there's more mentorship opportunities from a pathway perspective, right, and also mentorship, scholarship, and internship opportunities through our partners at country clubs around this region. Students have an opportunity to pursue internships as well, and so we want to kind of develop them in the rules of golf, the etiquette of golf, and just all of that at the middle school and elementary school levels, so that they can be prepared for the opportunities at the high school and college level.
Yeah. That's really cool. And that kind of internship and I guess job exposure that you were talking about is a good segue into the other program that I know you're running through UGOLF, is that caddy. That there's a caddy training program that you do, isn't that right?
Yes. So I've been blessed to be appointed as a new director of the Western Golfers Association.
Wow.
And through the Western Golfers Association and the tournaments that they run, we have about 10 scholarships in St. Louis region for students that meet the criterias and things of that nature to receive a full ride scholarship and free housing for caddying and achieving good grades and so forth.
Wow. So you're as UGOLF, you're able to administer that to one or two of the caddies that participate in the program?
Well, we can give more opportunities for students to caddy just through our relationships, but caddying is a key criteria for actually being in the running for the scholarship. And so you have to have, we say, at least 2 years of caddying to meet the criteria to be looked at for the scholarship.
Okay. And is this that Evans scholarship?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I've had friends I know go through that program. You get the free housing at Mizzou. It's an incredible scholarship program.
It is. And, we look to give out more scholarships, than we did in the past.
Wow. Yeah, that's really cool. And caddying, too, it's a great job.
Yeah, and it's hard work.
It's hard work. If you're walking that bag, I know friends who have done it, and it's an opportunity too to make pretty good money.
Yeah.
And you also learn. It's kind of like any service industry, like bartending's a funny example, or serving tables, caddying. It's one of those where you're incentivized to really be engaging and personable. Looking out for the golfer's need and how you can assist.
Yeah,
that's a really cool.
Yeah, you have to be attentive, and we've seen the success of students having the opportunity to caddy, where it was impactful for not just the student caddying, but the person that is actually playing golf. We've done this at Belle Reve Country Club some years ago for their men's league, and we were a little nervous because we've never done this before.
Yeah.
Right. But we bet on our kids. We believe that we were imparting wisdom, knowledge, all those things that come with the game, and learning, how to navigate life as a teenager and all those things. And, we feel that we've put everything inside of those kids, and they will not only represent themselves well, but represent their families well. And they've made some great relationships with the members out there at Belle Reve.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Because Belle Reve too, like as a kid especially, that's that can be an intimidating club. It's a real, it's like a beautiful club. You're rolling in. I know I've gone to some events there, and I'm like, man, I got better sharpen up on my way in. How's my hair looking? That's
it's like when you get to a championship course, it's like I can't help but feel like a champion.
Yeah. Man, that is really cool. So what does that training program look like for the caddies?
So through the caddy managers, we take them through well, let me double back. During our summer camp, we have training.
Okay.
Where Nick Wojciechowski, who's the leader of Chicago, and he's the regional leader of Chicago and St. Louis, and he came out to the camp and he took the kids through just what managing a hole looks like, from the tee to the green. And so we have that component during our summer camp, but also in our after-school program, we call it coursework. So when we're doing coursework, we're learning the rules, the terminology, things of that nature. And so they have to pass a written test with an 80 or above, and also they have to be able to carry a bag for 4 hours. And so, we take them through that training, and once they, find themselves worthy to actually be a caddy, we place them at certain country clubs.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
Is your after school program a one of the bigger funnels for that summer camp?
Yes and no.
Okay.
So largely our summer camp is supported through St. Louis Parks and Rec Department, in Jason Tatum Foundation, and PGA of America.
Yeah.
And so we get kids from city and county.
Yeah.
It's very interesting because, we have our community initiatives, but we have our school initiatives as well. We see the students that populate our summer camp are, based off of our community initiatives. And also students who actually play golf at school. It's an opportunity for them to come and get extra training and support for, when they go back to their golf teams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about the community engagement, do you mean things like the I know you have a golf tournament coming up in May.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Is that one of those community activities you're talking about?
So we do pop-ups.
Yeah.
Things that nature. Like the Fair St. Louis, we would go and have a space where we are engaging people in the game, but largely at the community centers, at the rec centers.
Okay.
With community days and things of that nature. I know Holland Law Firm has a community day that they do at the hub in North St. Louis, and Paris Thompson with the YMCA, they do a community day in South St. Louis, and so we try to come to the community days and expose the community in the game of golf. And once they learn that, wow, this exists, the students can be a part of it. They're connected to those centers. They through our partners, we make golf free for those students. It's a $715 commitment that through our partners and relationships, we erase that cost.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You guys are doing a lot. This has been a fast growth because you've been established for 5 years.
Yes,
is that
sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
So yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. Okay. What was it that got you into, because you've got such a broad mission of personal development and teaching these skills to these kids. What was it that made golf your segue? What was your involvement in golf before beginning the program?
I did not have an involvement in golf. I tell people that I didn't choose golf. Golf chose me.
Yeah.
I didn't grow up playing golf. We didn't have golf teams in our schools. We played what was available.
Yeah.
And it was really through my love of community and youth development that an opportunity came to work with the PGA, and there's another group. That's really what led it, is my love and my passion for students, and I just started playing golf, I would say in my mid 20s. I just started playing golf, and this opportunity came about, and so it was a way to marry a new love and an old love together to make this thing happen.
So what were you doing with the PGA before launching the organization?
The program that I started with Urban Golf is the program that I initiated with the PGA.
Interesting.
And so they gave me the freedom to imagine. They gave me the freedom to create. And, so grateful for that, because it is through seeing some of the gaps that that students have, they don't necessarily have character development as a course. They don't have life skills and things of that nature as a course. And so it was, identifying some of the gaps that the students have. It's like, you know what, we can help them there, or we can help them there, or we can do that, right? Identifying the potential that the students have, and really just kind of building on the potential that these students have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know you were, community development is a big passion of yours.
Yeah.
What roles were you serving in the community development realm that then introduced you to this opportunity with the PGA?
So to start, I was a community organizer
Okay.
for some time with Incarnate Word Foundation, and that really really motivated me to do more of community engagement and youth development, things of that nature. I got a chance to do asset mapping and
Yeah.
engage with some of the top nonprofit organizations within St. Louis, and it is when I saw the inner workings of how nonprofits work and the great impact that they had. It's like I had the idea. It's like, this is what I want to do, and so I kind of stayed in that realm. Actually, this isn't my first organization that I started. I started a nonprofit. It wasn't a 501c3 recognized nonprofit at that time. It was just state recognized. And I did that work for free.
Yeah.
I went to work during the day, and during the evening, we were so blessed to have space at Covenant House on Kings Highway. And so we had that space given to us for the time that we had it, and we just had kids in the community come, and some of the same programs that I do today, we did back then. It was like 2012, 2011, we did that. My brother died, and it kind of knocked the wind out of me, and so that's why there was a discontinuation of that program. But I've always had a love for youth development and community work, and to the point where I told them I'll do this stuff for free. This is real passion. The things I'll get paid for, like I like construction and building things and working with my hands. I'll go and do something like that.
Yeah.
Try to make some money.
Yeah. I'm sorry to hear about your brother, by the way.
Thank you.
Did he worked with you in that community development?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. We all, my brother and my sister, we grew up in the Ville neighborhood. Right?
Okay.
We went to the rec centers. We went to the community centers. In fact, one of the reason why I have a relationship with the Jason Tatum Foundation is through a lady named Dana Moorhead, who was the supervisor when I was a kid, just walking up to the rec center. It was like a family. And so when Jason Tatum Foundation wanted to do something with golf, she was like, well, I already know a guy, and she just connected the dots. And so we've always been in community. It's not something that we just started, something that seemed like a great idea. It's like, we come from this community. Let's go back and let's serve, and let's play our part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're coming from a pay it forward.
Mm-hmm.
You grew up participating in it wasn't obviously UGOLF,
Yeah.
but you were involved in rec center.
Yeah, Boys and Girls Club.
Okay.
We played football.
Yeah.
Where that was, it was huge back then. We didn't have social media and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So you either played you played sports, and so I tried to play everything. But as a kid, my mom wouldn't let me play football because she was afraid that I would get hurt. I was like, really?
Yeah.
But I played basketball. That was kind of one of those sports that I honed in on. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were a participant in Boys and Girls Club growing up.
Yeah.
And then did you end up volunteering at Boys and Girls Club as an adult?
No. So,
Okay.
Quite naturally, and I love how these things work. We have a relationship with Boys and Girls Club now.
Yeah.
We have a project that we're building right next to the club. It's the old Carter Carburetor site where the Cardinals used to play.
Yeah.
And so we're in a capital campaign to raise funds to actually make that a golf facility. So that will be where our headquarters will be. So we're trying to raise funds for that to make golf accessible in the neighborhood that these kids live in.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's the connection that I have with Boys and Girls Club, but it's all been through just kind of the work that I'm doing with Urban Golf of Greater St. Louis.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really cool.
Yeah.
So that's the next big. You're assisting in that capital raise to build out that facility.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of the fun of the upcoming golf tournament and all that. That's one of the allocations.
Yeah, we're not we're not doing this alone. We're just a part of the puzzle. Through PGA Reach Foundation, through Boys and Girls Club, and a few others. They're kind of the big guys, right? That are shouldering a lot of the responsibility. PGA was very instrumental in getting the building torn down and demolished, and Boys and Girls Club actually is the owner of those grounds and site. We get to play a role and engage students and help develop students and have our headquarters there once it's finished.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So kind of going back, growing up, because you took a huge leap it takes a lot of initiative to start such a massive foundation. I know, everything, you have to start somewhere, but you've now impacted over 150,000 students. When you were growing up, did you always have kind of this entrepreneurial, go-getter kind of mindset, or is that something you've found yourself in opportunities just through your work and being open?
Yeah, I would say, as a kid, I didn't have an entrepreneurial mindset. I always liked, to know how things work.
Yeah.
Like, more on the psychological level, like, what make, why are the lights in here? How these lights get here? What, how do they work? Right.
Yeah.
And so I was more inquisitive than anything. I like working with my hands. And so I would, do different projects and things of that nature. This work that I do is a calling.
Yeah.
It is not something that I feel like, I can do that, or, that seems like a good thing. It was, like I said, I didn't choose golf. Golf chose me. So it is more of a calling. And I find that I have to have something that is burning inside of me to go up to someone and say, hey, you need to know about this, because actually I can be in the woods.
Yeah.
By myself, chopping trees or building something. Like that's really me. I can be a loner, but it is with this passion of developing students and using the game of golf that really gives me just the fuel to go and build relationships and connect with people, all to support these students. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you, in construction, you said is what you might do to earn a living.
We'll see.
We'll
see.
Had you been doing construction before?
No. Not at all.
Yeah.
So I would say last year. It's interesting. I was kind of in a dark place, and I had this old shed in my backyard. I bought this old home, and there's this shed that came with the home it was a nice size, but it was old and, broken down, and I had a vision.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I can do this. And so I demolished the shed, and I, went on YouTubeversity.
Yeah.
and I learned how to build a tiny house. And so I built a 12 by 25, in my backyard.
Wow.
And so that stuff is like I'm gifted with my hands. I can kind of figure things out, but I think I kind of want to take that a step further, just in my free time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Learning it on YouTube.
Yeah, and I've had a little help here and there, but yeah, built it.
Yeah. So it's interesting. You skimmed over a little bit that you were in a little bit of a dark place when you were building this shed. What is it? Is your work something that helps you maintain that, helps pull you out of that dark place?
No. When you think about it, right, you're emotionally involved.
Yeah.
Building a house or, I can focus on this wall.
Yeah.
Trying to build this wall. I have to make sure my measurements are right. I have to make sure my cuts are right. Things that I know what I'm dealing with here. But when you talk about building a person or helping to develop, a family or a community, that's emotionally draining because you have you take on the things that these families are going through, or I've had students that house caught on fire, and so what do you do when a family loses everything? Right.
Yeah.
That's emotionally draining. Or when someone passes away, that's emotionally draining. And so it is with my little projects that really gives me an opportunity to escape and just focus on building a wall.
Yeah.
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 And obviously we don't need to get into this if you don't want to, but just out of curiosity, what was it that spurred kind of that dark place? Was it the weight of the program and it just everything feeling like a lot?
Yeah, it was everything. I'm a father of 4.
Wow.
I'm a son. I'm a brother. I have a lot of responsibilities, and when you are, my brother, he says I'm a glass half full type of guy.
Yeah.
And so when you have this certain outlook on life, and you know things will be better, and these when you find yourself in difficult times, it's like these are just temporary. It's just momentary. Things will get better. And so when you have a lot pulling on you and things of that nature, it takes away. And I felt very drained, felt very overwhelmed. And I found myself in my backyard.
Yeah.
and it was like, you know what? I'm going to focus on this, because if I continue going at the rate and the pace I was going, I don't know if that would have been sustainable for me. And
Yeah.
so, building my tiny house was really an outlet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was on a walk with Courtney the other day, and we were just talking about the concept of, like you said, because I'm kind of that glass half full optimist type as well, and I've got enough experience where I know you eventually get through it. And it's like, yeah, in 5 years it's going to be great. And the last 4 years, you don't even really remember some of the pain and all that you went through. But when you're sitting in it on that day, and maybe it's the 3rd day in a row of feeling not so optimistic.
Yeah.
You forget that 4 years is 1,200 days. And even though you're looking back and you're like, look at all we've accomplished in the 5 years, you still have to get through the next 24 hours.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to lose that perspective for a second.
Yeah.
And be like, 40, in hindsight, 2 days is nothing.
Yeah.
But 48 hours of straight pain, or 2 weeks or 2 months of not seeing sunshine.
Yeah. Yeah.
It feels like a very heavy weight at the time.
Yeah.
So building that shed was a nice outlet for you.
Yeah. It was very therapeutic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the day-to-day, or when you come up against these dark clouds, because we all have them. You know, they might hit you once a week. They might hit you every morning. Do you have any tools or rituals or practices that help keep you moving forward?
Yeah, absolutely. I've found myself in the gym a lot more.
Yeah.
At first I was, I've always been, pretty athletic, and I like to walk, and, I like to run. But I really started taking the gym serious, to where it's like, okay, I'm measuring myself. I'm measuring, my intake and things of that nature. And so, going to the gym has been very therapeutic for me as well, to help me to regulate my emotions and things of that nature. And I'm a faith guy on top of that. And so, I believe in the Lord Jesus, and, going in prayer, or, going to a church service, will help lift my spirit, or listening to some gospel music to help recalibrate my mood or where I am, to help me to know that it, no matter how dark it is, the light will shine eventually. So through working out, through going to church, and connecting myself with my community is has helped me so far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is amazing. I was raised Catholic. I'm not like the most religious guy, but I went to Catholic schools and everything, but I've always been kind of spiritual and religious. So the last year, I'd never actually read the Bible or anything. But the last year, somebody had sent me this app called Ascension, and it's got the Bible in a Year podcast.
Okay.
And for me, working out has always been the thing. I'm like, just get up and go for a run or lift some weights, and that's kind of how I solve my problems. And then eventually you overlift and you hurt yourself, and now you're back in a bag. But it was amazing, because I hadn't done Bible study or anything in 10 years. And I would start every morning workout listening to this Bible in a Year podcast. And it is amazing, just those little nuggets that you can pull. It might be one sentence a day that spurs you out of your funk. And you're like, oh, my burdens aren't that heavy.
Yeah. It definitely gives you a perspective. At one point in my life, I was very religious.
Yeah.
I mean, very religious.
Yeah.
I mean, it was terrible.
Yeah.
It was a barrier that really did not allow me to engage with people who didn't necessarily think like I thought, or believe like I believe. I don't stand on that mountain anymore, because I realized that we've been put on this earth with people to engage people and show something different, right? But kind of coming down off that hill and really just finding myself is like, you know what? I live in this world with people, right? And one of the things that I've realized in my journey, that working out is more spiritual than you think.
Yeah.
Because, we're comprised of mind, body, and spirit. And I've seen that when my body is impacted negatively, then that has a propensity to impact my spirit.
Yeah.
Like sometimes I'm down on myself, or when I'm down mentally, it's like I don't really want to go out of the house. I don't want to work out. And so it's like when one of those components of our makeup is impacted or damaged, the other two feels the effects of it. And so my focus is, from being religious, is I want to be whole. I want my body to be, as Scripture says, your body is the temple.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, if my body is the temple, let me hone in on, eating right.
Yeah. Yeah.
What am I eating? How am I exercising? Right. What am I doing for my mind? I start seeing a therapist. It's very important. And the spiritual component, the spirit part of it is learning about your Creator, and keeping your spirit high and things of that nature. but we're made up of all three of those things. And if we give one more attention than the other, then, we might see an impact there. And so I'm just focused on being whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I look at it the same way.
Yeah.
And I think I always hear the term, it's harder to think yourself into positive action than it is to act yourself into positive thinking. And that's been a massive tool for me. It's like, I'm feeling negative, just go for a mile.
Yeah.
Do 20 burpees.
Yeah.
And then you pop up and you're like, and you feel good. And another kind of spiritual guide that's been helpful for me especially when I'm talking to myself or people who aren't necessarily religious or tapped in that way, is when you are working out and engaged physically and just in healthy habits, your internal voice and that conscious steers you in the right direction.
Yes, sir.
It can, if you're in that negative state, it can be a slippery slope down that negative
That's a fact.
little decline.
That's a fact. Every time I've gone for a run, at times I felt down and I really don't want to go to the gym. After I've been in the gym, it's like, okay, man, that's what I need.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I need. And so, no, I think managing those components of our makeup is very important. I think people find themselves being overly spiritual. It's like, well, you're overweight.
Yeah.
You don't feel real good about yourself.
Yeah.
It's like there are so many trade-offs. And so, I don't want to be known as the over spiritual person, right?
Yeah.
Because if I'm helping everybody else and I'm not helping myself, what good am I?
Right.
Right. And so, I focused in on, how can I be better? Right?
Yeah.
How can I be better the next day than I was the last?
Yeah.
That's my goal.
And in your particular role too, that is how you can have a true impact. If you're looking sloppy, like how are these students going to look up to you as a role model, somebody they want to emulate, if you don't have your own shit together?
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that I've learned, especially with dealing with my high school students, is, students are, some of the most discerning, perceptive, beings on the earth. They can read you like a book. This person don't like me, or this person don't like their job. They can see that. And one of the things that I'm quite proud of, and is very close to Christ's message, is that, right, they not only see me at my high.
Yeah.
Right. When you talk about authentic relationships, and my high school students, I would take them to games, ice cream, get some ice cream, go to Starbucks, and actually spend time with them. And I remember one time we were in Schnucks, and took about 5 of them to Schnucks with me to grab some food for the program. And there was this guy, I was cool. I was in a good mood. And there was this guy who was not in a good mood.
Yeah.
And he challenged me. In that moment, I was hot, right?
Yeah.
And they saw that. They saw, like, you can get it. Like, like, don't let the smooth taste fool you. Like, they saw me at the height of anger, but they also saw me regulate that anger.
Right.
To where I didn't go overboard. And I think that seeing adults, right, from my perspective, there are adults, and some people was just perfect. It's like, I can't be that person. They got all their things going for them. But learning that your problems don't stop when you get to a certain age in life, but it's all about how you regulate and manage yourself in those things. I think that was a lesson that I really couldn't teach them going through a book. That's something, my pastor, he tells me, some lessons are caught versus taught.
Yeah.
And I believe that's a lesson that they caught.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is great. And that is like what I was saying or understanding about your approach is it's that time spent
Yeah.
is where you can reveal those lessons.
Absolutely. We spend a lot of time.
Yeah. And it's like that concept of meekness. I've heard, I don't even know where I heard somebody break down what meekness truly means.
Mm-hmm.
It's the concept of the one who can hold the sword but keep it sheathed, kind of thing.
Yeah. It says that there's a saying that says you would rather a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that is why in your mentorship role, and I see you in the gym. I don't know if I've seen you. I think I've seen you up here with your kids as well and getting them.
Yeah.
Is that so these lessons that we're talking about that we've learned about how to pull ourselves out of these dark places, are these the types of lessons that you're engaging your students in?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because we want them to learn how to navigate life. In life, there's no blueprint.
Yeah.
There's no perfect way. You know, I'm a new Titleist Performance Institute professional, and the model for Titleist is there's no perfect way to swing. There's an efficient way for you to swing. And so mirroring that to our students, there's no perfect life.
Yeah.
Right? What you think somebody has, as a picture of perfection, you're not living that life, and they will probably say something different. So my goal is to show them that there's a way that you can manage life, and you manage life by managing yourself.
Yeah.
How do I pour into myself? How do I check in with myself? And do I have a mindfulness moment? A lot of the students, when we start doing mindfulness, they've not taken that time out to breathe and think of a word and meditate on. Like, that's important, because when I'm at the height of something, what is a tool that I can pull out of my toolbox and say, all right,
yeah,
this isn't as bad as I thought. Having some kind of reflection and having value in that is what we're trying to give.
Yeah. That it's so important.
Yeah. And golf, I mean, when you think about the game of golf, right, that's what it is, because you're actually on a course, a field of opposition, a field of obstacles, a field of things that you have to navigate through, right? You got bunkers, you have you have hills, you have water, you have trees, you have to navigate your ball around all of these obstacles to get to the green. Right.
Yeah.
And we take a lot of those intangible lessons on the game of golf, and we try to help apply it to their lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's so interesting that you bring that up, because I was thinking about this before we came on. I was thinking about the game of golf. Mm-hmm. It's you against you and all these life lessons that exist in it. Mm-hmm. But as a kid growing up, I was playing sports too. Mm-hmm. And supposedly there were all these life lessons in hockey or the things I was playing but I wasn't making those connections. Yeah. And I don't know that anybody was necessarily drawing them, other than saying this game is just like life. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Are you trying to actively, when you're going through a round of golf, is that something you're
absolutely
talking through?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because, learning to breathe is very important, especially when you're on the tee.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, I have to advance this ball. If you're competitive, right, I have to advance this ball at least 150 yards, 200 yards to even be close to getting a par, right? Yeah. So that's my goal. This is the goal that I have, and this is the start of that goal. And so, we all want to start well, but, we all don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
We all don't start well. So what's the recovery?
Yeah.
My favorite clubs are my irons.
Yeah.
Because they give me a second chance If I don't get off the green well, if I don't, get out the gate and I don't get a good start, right, I still have an opportunity to get there at the goal or under the goal.
Yeah.
I just have to learn how to manage the minutia, manage the bad things, that happens. Like, that wasn't the best hit I could have done. I have to let that go.
Yeah.
Right? Because if I take that last shot and I try to do it again, I'm going to fail. And so, golf, especially after hitting a bad shot, it teaches you how to let things go and start new with a fresh mind and a fresh approach.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we try to hone in on those.
Yeah. You have to keep, like, as an adult, I have to remind myself. It's like, just look at the ball. Don't pick it up and look at the green. You know what I'm talking about? Where you're ready to crank it 300 yards, so you pick your head up and then you top the ball and it rolls up.
Yes. Learning how to focus.
Yeah.
A lot of times I tell our students is like, don't hit the ball before you hit it.
Yeah.
Right? You after you've identified where you want to go, your next thing, your next responsibility is to focus on the ball.
Yeah.
Just hit the ball. You've already, you got your muscle memory and how to swing. You got your alignment together. You already figured that out. Is when you start second guessing yourself and overthinking is when you typically start messing up.
Yeah.
And so we try to help them to focus by using, the mindfulness meditation components and, our putting and things of that nature. So.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
And just one shot at a time, too.
Yeah. And when you hit that good shot.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, man, I can do this.
Yeah.
Like, that was easy.
Yeah.
And that's what brings them back.
Yeah, it is. Because it's so easy, too, when you're playing golf and you hit 2 bad shots, 3 bad shots in a row, and then you're frustrated and you want to just pick up, or you start speeding through your game because you're just agitated and you're letting the last shot impact the next shot.
Yeah.
And I struggle with it as an adult, but I'm getting better, and that is why golf it's such a good game for learning the skills of life.
Yeah, very much so.
What's been the biggest lesson that the game of golf has taught you?
I would say the biggest lesson that the game of golf has taught me is there's a process.
Yeah.
It's, with everything, there's a process. You can't skip process. You can't, start in the middle of the fairway.
Yeah.
You have to start at the beginning. And, where you hit the ball is, all right, that's the next step to the process of getting to the green. Just like, building my house, it's like I have to learn. You learn through the process as well. It's like, all right, I know the beginning, I know the end, right? It is when I've hit a bunch of shots, it's like, you know what? I've been here before.
Yeah.
You know what? I like to play Forest Park. It's, it's in the city. You get a good 9 holes, on the lunch break or whatever. And I play that course a lot.
Yeah.
I played a lot, and when I get to, let's say, hole 7, it's like, I know this hole.
Yeah.
I know if I get it right over in this vicinity, I have a good chance of, my second shot getting on the green. I'm on in 2.
Yeah.
And so it's like, understanding that, there's a process to everything, but also the commitment to keep coming back. Is very important, because if you don't have a commitment to keep coming back, your experience will defeat you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that trust the process. That's like my biggest thing I like to remind myself. And it is, so how important is helping these students find early small wins in that process? Because I know when you're starting the process, when you're beginning a process, if you don't experienced the gratification of seeing a process through and realizing the rewards of it, you can become discouraged by the process.
Yeah.
So maybe how important is it to introduce those wins, and how exciting is it when a kid finally gets through the process, hits a good shot for the first time, and that smile on their face?
Yeah. So, what we do is you have to manage it in doses.
Yeah.
If you try to, get to the end too early, that's when you start topping the ball, or you shank it, or you just hit bad shots. And so what we do is we teach them in doses. So we'll start off with putting.
Yeah.
If I teach you how to connect with the ball, then after you've put all the mechanics together and you hit it a good distance, that's a sense of pride.
Yeah.
That this is a skill that I've learned. Golf is not easy at all.
Yeah.
The hardest game known to man. And you have to learn the technique. And so what we see is a lot of students, they come in, it's a ball in the club. I can just hit it, and when when you see somebody approach the ball and they miss it every time, it's like, how am I missing it? Okay, let me first teach you how to connect with the ball.
Yeah.
Right? And so we teach them how to connect with the ball, and once start them off, you have to start small before you get big.
Yeah.
Right? And it's another intangible lesson I won't dig into, but connecting with the ball and then going back a little bit, then back a little bit further to full swings. It's like, all right, we've taught you at the baseline. Now let's put all these things together and manage the course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great approach. I still have to do that with myself. Every time I'm going to go out and golf, it's like you got to pull your pitching wedge out at the driving range first and not focus on, just make connection. I remember I was at a golf tournament with some buddies a couple of years ago. I remember it was when I had first gotten into meditation, and I was like, ooh, I'm going to come out and play really well. Like, I've got my breath work down, and I remember like sitting at the tee, I was like, I'm visualizing going deep, and I stepped up to the ball, and I thought like, oh, I'm going to have this real pure swing, and I came down and completely whiffed on it. And I was like, and it was when you have the whole team around the tee box getting ready for you to go, humiliating. And then like, ended up figuring it out when I just pulled up and swung. And then I went to the driving range the next day, and I was just a good reminder, like, oh, those first 4 holes were really bad because you didn't start. It was a pretty short par 4, and a lot of guys were even starting with irons off the tee. And I was like, oh, I'm going to drive this green. And it's like, of course you whiff on the ball when you try to drive the green. Start small.
Yeah.
That's great advice.
Indeed.
So looking ahead, obviously, this organization has been around for 5 years. Incredible impact in 5 years, from building out the schools, these camps, the caddy program. With the trajectory, I can only imagine the growth is to come. What's your vision for the future with the program? If you could achieve any goal over the next 5 years, or even just 1 year, what would that be?
We would love to have programming in both city and county at multiple schools. Elementary, middle school, and high school. I've learned in my community organizing days that, being able to stay with the kid longer, because, just because a kid went to this middle school doesn't mean that they're going to, let's say, Gateway Middle School, doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to Gateway High School. They may go to McClure, they may go to Lutheran North, they may go to CBC, wherever that is. And so what we would like to do is to hold on to the student longer. If we expose you to the game, we want to walk with you through, those years, middle school and high school, and equip you to be prepared for college. In a perfect world, that's what we want to have in both city and county programs, in school and out of school. We would also want to have, and we're working on this now, establishing golf teams. right? We're developing these students in the game of golf, but there's no golf teams
Yeah,
that
yeah,
they can pursue. And so one big goal is to have established golf teams within St. Louis public schools, within the charter schools, that the students that we're teaching to compete, that they can actually compete at a state level, right? And so that's one of the things that we would like to do. And big hairy goal is to make this thing national.
Yeah.
To go to Chicago, to go to Kansas City, and replicate what we've done in St. Louis. That's the goal.
I love it, and no doubt that you're going to make it happen.
Thank you.
And obviously, funding, donations, all that's going to be huge in reaching these goals. Where can people find the platform to make donations, or to even sign up for this upcoming golf tournament and future events?
Absolutely. We're on the social media platforms: Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. And so I have friends who don't do social media that do LinkedIn though.
Yeah.
And so we're on LinkedIn. We're putting our stories out there. And so you can check Urban Golf of Greater St. Louis out on any one of those platforms.
Yeah.
We have a website, UGOLFSTL.org, where our summer camps are there. The donation button is there. Feel free to donate. Whatever you're led to donate. We have our golf tournament coming up May 20th. We're really excited. It's our 4th annual one.
Yeah.
Last year we sold out our first tournament. That was pretty rewarding and fun. And we're looking to sell out this year's tournament. The difference between this year's tournament and last year's tournament is this year is our first year at the country club. And so we're having the tournament at Norwood Hills Country Club.
That's awesome.
May 20th. And, opportunities to sponsor or, participate in the foursome is right there on the website for Greater Golf Tournament.
Awesome. And that's ugolfstl.org?
Yes, ugolfstl.org. Yeah.
And to find you, LinkedIn would probably be the best route?
LinkedIn.
All right, Jerome Harris.
Yes, sir.
Cool. Is there anything else that we haven't talked about that you wish we had?
No, man. I appreciate you for sharing your platform with me, engaging me in in this organization we're building. All of it is to expose kids to the game of golf and give them opportunities within the sport and also in the community, which is so huge and so vast. So I appreciate you for being a part of that community.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on.
Indeed. Thank
All right.
you. Love.